Welcome to Holston Valley Unitarian Universalist Virtual Church. My name is Beth Calvert, and I'm glad we can get together, even though we cannot be together. Today, our minister, the Reverend Jeff Breer, tells us of the time he tried to go home again. To accompany the lighting of our chalice, I have a few words adapted from a poem by Owen Dodson. Dodson was a novelist and a playwright, and one of the leading African-American poets of the Harlem Renaissance. He died in 1983. Who are those among you, homesick for home, longing for peace? The summer going and the war going and all the sharp promises of peace. Watch from your foxholes for fire on distant mountains, fire flags lit with peace, waving on the mountains. There are other journeys you must make after your journey home. Other journeys you must make alone into the countries of the heart, to sit with silence and decide alone. We all have different reasons for gathering here each week, but we have this much in common. We work together as a church to transform ourselves, our community, and our world by sharing love, pursuing justice, and seeking wonder. For music today, Rosemary and Ann bring us a song of remembrance. The music is from an old Russian song with new English words. Those were the days.
Once upon a time there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we'd laugh away the hours. We'd think of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La da 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 da. Then the busy years went rushing by us. We lost our starry notions on the way. If by chance I'd see you in the tavern, we'd smile at one another and we'd say, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. La 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 da 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 da. Just tonight I stood before the tavern. Nothing seemed the way it used to be. In the glass I saw a strange reflection. Was that lonely person really me? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. La da 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 da. days and heard you call my name. Oh, my friend, we're older, but no wiser, for in our hearts the dreams are still the same. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose, we'd fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La 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 Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days.
We will sing Loving Kindness next. Please light a candle to dispel the darkness, to honor someone or some event, or to bring light to a memory.
Hello, my name is Jeff Breer and I'm the minister of this virtual church. I hope you're safe and well. Please remember to wear a mask in public and keep your distance from other folks. I want to tell you a little bit about the first job that I ever had. It was in 1962, the summer before I entered high school. I scored a job working for my dentist, Dr. Miles Barton. He owned 7 or 8 little cabins, rental cabins, on Lake Tippecanoe, which is in northern Indiana. I lived in Indianapolis. Dr. Barton's wife, Norma, took care of all the cabins and looked after the property, and she hired me to help out. I had about 100 little odd jobs, like chopping firewood, cleaning windows, doing laundry, cleaning cabins before the next tenant, mowing grass and raking sand. I also learned how to follow the directions to make a box cake, as I was tasked with making a cake for the tenants every Friday afternoon. It was a wonderful summer, wonderful. There were girls all around. Tippy Dance Hall was right across the lake. I went water skiing and canoeing and swimming, and I even caught some fish. I learned how powerful a cherry bomb is when I threw one in the mailbox and shut the door. It was an excellent way to spend 3 months and earn a little money. Dr. Barton and his entire family were well into swimming. That was the big deal. He was actually an Olympic swimming judge. The big deal, actually, every summer was to swim across the lake, a distance of maybe a quarter mile. Although to me it looked like 50 miles. All summer long people asked me when I would attempt to swim across the lake. I never attempted it. No, not me. Now, what I did do was idolize Johnny Williams. He was a kid who lived nearby. He could go water skiing around the lake and never get wet. He would sit fully clothed at the end of the pier, slalom ski in the water. He'd signal the boat to gun it, and he'd hit the water standing up. When he returned, he would let go of the tow rope and ski all the way into the shore, jump out of his ski, and not have a drop of water on him except his feet. I wanted to be him. Another person I admired was Brenda Barton's boyfriend, Ben Williams. He wasn't related to Johnny. Brenda Barton was my employer's daughter, and she must have been maybe 20 or 22 at the time. Well, her boyfriend Ben was a speed freak. He actually had a Super Sport 409 convertible. You know what that is? It's a Chevrolet Impala fitted with a real big engine that produced a lot of horsepower. The Beach Boys recorded a hit song about that car. He also had a speedboat with 2 Mercury 80 horsepower engines. That's not remarkable these days, but in the summer of '62 it was amazing. He also had an airplane, but we never saw that. Through the years, many fond memories come back to me about that summer. And I suppose I am not the only one who had such a summer full of adventure, fantasy, and fun right at the cusp of puberty. I went back there a few years ago. I hadn't been since 1962, but I wanted to show the place to Kate and see it again for myself. I had no address. I only knew it was on the south shore of Lake Tippecanoe near the eastern end, so it took a while to find it. In the years since 1962, the value of the land around the lake had shot up and the entire area was completely overdeveloped. People had built houses so close to each other you could reach out your window and shake hands with your neighbor. The amount of boat traffic on Lake Tippecanoe and other lakes in Lake Country in northern Indiana was unsafe, in my opinion. Well, it was awful. It wasn't anything like I remembered it. I found the place, but I nearly missed it because the big sign that I was looking for was a lot smaller than I remembered. In fact, everything about the main cottage and the surrounding grounds was a lot smaller than I remembered. The trees were smaller. The grounds were largely overgrown. It hadn't been kept up. The cabins needed paint, and everything had a sort of a shabby kind of vibe. I knocked, and a man I didn't know answered the door. Turned out to be Brenda Barton's husband. I explained that I worked for his wife's mother about 40 years ago, and I just wanted to visit the place again. Norma died in 1984, he said. Brenda was napping, he said, and we can't wake her, he said. I asked if we could walk out on the pier, and he said sure. So Kate and I walked out to the end of the pier, and that's where I told Kate about the 6-inch bluegill that I had caught there in 1962. At the end of the pier is also where Norma Barton gave me my first sex ed talk. Keep your pants buttoned up, she advised me. Although I divined what she meant, I was glad that zippers were used in those days. When we walked off the pier, Brenda was sitting on the porch. She couldn't remember me, although she remembered all the other young boys that her mother had hired through the years. She did recall the mailbox exploding one year. She talked about Johnny Williams. She talked about Ben Williams. She talked about her sister Linda, with whom she was having a fight. Linda wanted to carve up the property and sell off the parcels. Brenda was squatting on it so her sister couldn't do anything. They were going to court, she said. Well, Brenda talked non-stop. I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating. Brenda talked non-stop for at least 40 minutes or maybe longer about anything and everything. She railed against the developments. She talked about everyone and everything that was allied against her. And after about 20 minutes, I began to understand that she was ill. And no wonder her husband did not want to wake her. So after just getting a few words in edgewise and listening to her chatter for an hour or so, we made excuses and left. Brenda was still going strong as we walked down the long drive, which was a lot shorter than it was in 1962. Well, at least it seemed that way to me. So I suppose you're wondering where I'm going with all this. Here it is. You can't go home again. You can't go home again. That's the title of a book by Thomas Wolfe. It tells the story of a man who returned to his hometown and was met with anger and fear from the people who lived there. He travels to New York and to Europe, and then he returns to the United States. This passage is from that book. You can't go back home to your family, back home to your childhood, back home to your youthful dreams of glory and of fame, back home to places in the country, back home to the old forms and systems of things which once seemed everlasting, but which are changing all the time. You can't go back home to the escapes of time and memory. I thought I could do that. I thought that I could find the escapes of time and memory, but you really can't go home again. What you had is no more. What I had is no more. What was, was. Now, it is not. Everything progresses, everything changes. And this is true for our country as well. We can't go back to normal. We can't go back again. We can't make America great again. The pandemic and Black Lives Matter and the recent election have convinced me that we must chart a new path to greatness. We'll never be great by emulating the past. From now on, every governing entity of every population, elected or appointed, had better represent its constituency. It better look like that population. Every police force, fire department, every military force better look like the population it serves. We need to develop new methods for living together, because what we had, who we were, and what we did will not be sufficient tomorrow. We can't go home again. And I want to switch gears here and take a moment for the Transgender Day of Remembrance. The Transgender Day of Remembrance is observed annually on November 20th as a day to memorialize those who have been murdered as a result of transphobia. It's a day to draw attention to the continued violence endured by transgender people. So we'll take a moment of silence now as the names of those who have died in the last year are displayed. They are not gone who pass beyond the clasp of hand, out from the strong embrace. They are but come so close, we need not grope with hands, nor look to see, nor try to catch the sound of feet. They have put off their shoes softly, to walk by day within our thoughts, to tread at night our dream-led paths of sleep. I'm sorry to say that the Centers for Disease Control, as well as the Food and Drug Administration, may have become politicized, so I recommend you consider that when you read or hear what they suggest. Nonetheless, wearing a mask, staying away from people, and avoiding large indoor gatherings is, in my opinion, a very good idea. And remember what Zig Ziglar said, you can have all you want in this life if you just help other people get what they want.
For a benediction today, I offer you these words from Rosemary Bray McNatt that seem to echo the vote of the people in our latest election. The truth is this: if there is no justice, there will be no peace. If we cannot bring justice into the small circles of our individual lives, we cannot hope to bring justice to the world. And if we do not bring justice to the world, none of us is safe and none of us will survive. Nothing that we do is more important than making justice real, here where we are. Hard as diversity is, it is our most important task. Our time together is nearly finished, but our work is not done. May our spirits be renewed and our resolve strengthened as we meet the challenges of the week to come. Please help me close this service now. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. My name is Cindy Hatch, and I am happy that you could join us for this service. Please come back whenever you like. We will post another virtual church service next Sunday. Please contact the minister or the caring team if you or someone that you know needs help during this time. Our services are recorded in advance, so current events may move faster than our ability to address them in a timely fashion. However, you can find up-to-date information on local events, social justice issues, inspiration, and content for all ages on our Facebook page. To close our service, a song by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, Golden Slumbers. As you make your way through the week, remember that you are good, you are loved, we all need a little work, and we're all in this together. Nothing left to say, but yay, church!
Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Golden slumbers fill your eyes, smiles awake you when you rise. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, sing a lullaby. Golden slumbers fill your eyes. Smiles awake you when you cry. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry. And I will sing a lullaby. Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry. And I will sing a lullaby.